All right, welcome to the explainer. We're always told to be a good team player, right? To just be agreeable. But what if that's actually terrible advice? Today, we're going to dig into a really interesting idea that creating a little bit of productive discomfort could be the one thing that truly unlocks your impact at work. So let's just jump right in with this quote because it really challenges that whole idea of always keeping the peace. It says, if you never annoy anyone, you probably aren't making an impact. I mean, think about that for a second. If you're not creating even a little bit of friction, are you actually changing anything at all? Okay, let's make this personal for a minute. I want you to ask yourself this. Are you the easy one at work? The go-to person because you always say yes? The one who never, ever argues? Yeah, it might feel safe, but trust me, we're about to dive into the hidden and pretty significant cost of being that person. So let's tackle the core problem head on. What's actually so wrong with being the easygoing person on the team? I mean, it sounds like a compliment, doesn't it? Well, let's take a closer look. You've totally seen this play out, right? Managers often love the employee who doesn't push back, who takes on tasks without a single question, who just says, okay, even when they're thinking, no way. And that praise creates this huge incentive to just go with the flow. But it's a trap. It really is. And it's baited with that very praise. And here's the unwritten rule, the part they definitely don't put in the job description. When you avoid all friction, when you never question anything or push back, sure, you might be easy to manage, but it also means you're not fundamentally changing a thing. And let's be honest, if you're not changing things, are you really making a difference? And this all leads us straight into a huge myth. I mean, it's a myth many of us have been sold our entire careers. The myth of the ideal employee. You know the one. The person who is always correct, always quiet, and avoids conflict at all costs. Yeah, let's tear that one down. Okay, so here's where the perception gap gets really, really stark. You think you're being nice, but you're actually risking becoming irrelevant. You're trying to be agreeable, but you could be making yourself expendable. And you see yourself as a great team player when really you're just becoming a follower. It's a tough pill to swallow, but it really forces you to rethink things. And this next point, it hits really hard if you're in a leadership role or even just want to be. You can be part of the team, but not actually move the team. Just passively participating, that's not leadership. Real, actual impact comes from pushing, from guiding, and yep, sometimes from challenging where the team is headed. Okay, hold on. You're probably thinking, so what, you want me to just be a difficult, argumentative person now? No, absolutely not. That is a super important distinction we need to make here. We're not talking about destructive conflict. We're talking about something entirely different. Constructive discomfort. So what is this constructive discomfort thing? Well, it's not about picking fights. It's not about being a jerk or just trying to get your way. It's actually a strategic, respectful move. It's all about provoking new ways of thinking and pushing for real progress and doing it in a way that's effective and professional. So what does this actually look like day to day? Well, it's asking that one question that makes the whole room just stop and think. It's being the one to point out that a process is broken, even if, especially if, we've always done it this way. It's proposing a totally different way forward and backing it up with good reasons. And sometimes, honestly, it's just having the guts to say the thing that you know everyone else is thinking, but is too afraid to say out loud. Okay, so if this is all so effective, why don't more of us do it? The answer is really simple, and it's very human. It all comes down to fear. So let's break down exactly what fears are holding us back. These are the big ones, and they're totally relatable. There's the fear of getting labeled as problematic or difficult. There's the fear of, losing your popularity with your coworkers. And then there's the big one, the very real fear of confronting your boss or other people in authority. These are not irrational fears at all. They're powerful reasons to just stay quiet. But you have to see the chain reaction that this fear kicks off. That fear of speaking up, it leads to this quiet resignation, right? You just start accepting, well, that's just how it is around here. And that resignation, for you and for the whole company, it leads directly to stagnation. Nothing changes, nothing grows. The end.
All right, so we've talked about the problem, we've talked about the fear. Now for the good part. What actually happens when you push past that fear, when you start creating that constructive discomfort? What's the payoff for having that courage?
It's actually a pretty clear progression. First, you dare to challenge things. And yeah, at first, it might be a little tense. But then, something really cool happens. People start to actually listen to you. And then, your opinion starts to carry more weight. And before you know it, you're the person they pull into the room for the big decisions. They're not looking for a rubber stamp anymore. They're looking for your actual judgment.
This really requires a huge shift in your mindset. You have to reframe your goal. Ask yourself, is my goal to be liked or is it to leave a mark? Because if your main goal is just to be liked, you will always default to being agreeable. But if your goal is to make a real, tangible contribution, then you'll find the courage to speak up when it actually matters. And this really gets to the core of it all. Fitting in is passive. Contributing is active. Think about it. You weren't hired to just blend into the background. You were hired for your brain, for your unique perspective, for your ability to make things better. Don't let a simple desire for comfort silence the very contribution you were hired to make.
Okay, so as we start to wrap this up, I want to turn this all back around to you and your world. It's time to take these ideas and really apply them to your own situation. And here's a final thought that just completely flips that ideal employee myth on its head. Sometimes, the single most professional thing you can do is to respectfully make other people uncomfortable. This suggests that creating discomfort isn't unprofessional at all. In fact, when you do it right, it's the height of professionalism. It's a true skill. So, this leaves us with one last big question for you to take back to work with you. Really look around at your team, at your company culture. Does it actually reward this kind of constructive discomfort, or does it punish it? Is innovation just a buzzword on a poster, while the quiet, agreeable person gets all the rewards? Your answer to that question, well, it's going to tell you everything you need to know about your own path to making a real impact. Thanks for tuning in to The Explainer.